Wow, I really think that my mob killing room is working out pretty well. 584 rotten flesh. Interesting. So, take some of this. Get 2 things of salt. Thank you, Pam's Harvest Craft. I love the Pam's mods. So there we go. Now I've got enough food to last me a while. I just looked on the Industrial Craft wiki, and it says 220 bars of pressure is what creates superheated steam. Superheated steam is created at 374 degrees Celsius. That's 220 bars according to the wiki, so that's what I've put it at. And I don't know about this water input per tick. I've got a bucket in here, and it's only using a little tiny bit at a time. It also says something about 200 heat units being fed into it. I've got 2 of these geothermal generators powering this stuff, and it's only generating 100 per tick, and it's fluctuating from 0 to 100. So, and as I said before, this over here actually is not being powered. It's fluctuating from 0 to 100 too. So I'm not exactly sure if this is the right way to go, but it is making steam, as you can see, and it's still going at a good clip over here. They're talking about calcification on there also. Let me get rid of that. So I'm at 8.6, and it's been running for a while. I've got 4,000 micro buckets. I think a 1,000 micro buckets is 1 bucket. So I have 4 buckets in there. Is that basically how that works? I'm not exactly sure. 600 micro buckets. Yeah. So once it reaches 1,000, it actually pushes it over and makes a bucket. So that is how that works. I was correct before. So it's filling up slowly. This will hold 16 buckets. It looks like. I got 16 buckets of water over here. Yep. So I've got them the same size. So it is working. I had a stack of lapis lazuli dust in here, and now it's down to 56. So that does work out right. So just trying to be as efficient as I possibly can with this system so that we can get coolant as quickly as possible. But it looks like it's just a slow process. The other thing I wanted to show you guys was look at all the slimes. Slimes are generating in the corners down here for some reason. I'm not exactly sure what's up with that, but tons of slimes down here. If I ever need slime, I know where to come. So there you have it. That seems to be the best setting according to what the wiki says. If it's wrong, or you have a different thing that works for you, leave me a comment and let me know. So I adjusted my little system here once again. I created myself an MFSU, which is much better because it's going to put out a lot more EU per tick. I put some gold cable running into the electric generator, and it's pretty much keeping up with keeping 100 heat units going into it. Now what I could do actually is go make some more gold cable for these things and see if that helps a little bit. They've got some power stored up in there, so we'll see what happens. Actually, let's keep these connected that way just to see if they're going to help a little bit. But I don't have any more gold cable, so I've got to make some. So let's see. The only thing I have to craft is that I didn't make gold cable. So let's grab some. Oops. Let's grab some gold. Yeah. Oops. I put it in the box. Let's run down here, and I've got an extruder set up. A metal former set to extruding mode. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's make 6 of them. Oh, every one of them makes 3. That's right. So we'll make 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9. 9 we're going to make a lot more. That's good. Now let's grab some rubber. Ooh, I'm almost out of rubber. I have to go grab some more rubber. We have a few blocks of rubber wood here. I need the extractor for that. Let's grab these out of here for a second, just to make this process go faster. In the meantime, we'll get that gold cable and this rubber. Oh, that's right, it takes 2, that's right, wow. So we're going to be able to make a few here. But that's fine. We really don't need much. And when we come back, this will be done. Let's head down here. I have my little thing there, but it was pointless. So, let's get rid of these and replace them with gold and see what happens. Hopefully nothing will blow up on me. Yeah, so it's still not generating enough power, and I have three geothermal generators feeding into this MFSU. Wow. And that's still not enough power. These, I believe these will only output 20 per tick. Yeah, 20 per tick. So we really don't need any more than this copper cable, because the copper cable will carry 128 for the output for these. Wow. So it's just a limitation of this pulling a lot more energy than we thought. But it is staying at 100 heat units pretty steadily there. And this is actually going to be going just as fast as it always was. These two machines look like they're powered pretty well. So the only one that's not actually powered well is this electric heat generator. And it only loses, it looks like like a tenth of a tick, it looks like, or something like that. Just a minor fraction of a tick that it actually drops to 0. So that's not bad. A lot more efficient than it was before, and hopefully that'll help to get this coolant in here. Looks like we're at 7.5 buckets now. We're going to need a lot more than that. Still messing around down here as I'm making this coolant, and I started putting together some pressure pipes. I built myself a pressure pipe tank, and basically what I'm going to be doing is feeding fluid in and out of my reactor up into this tank, and we're going to store the coolant in this tank for a couple reactors if I ever build one on this side too. And then we're going to feed the hot liquid coming out of these reactors. At least this is my plan. And I'm kind of going off the cuff here. Into another tank that cools, and then one over here that has the cooled, and we'll transfer between the two. But one of the coolest things that I've ever seen, I was trying to figure out how these things work. And the way that it seems that it works is this colored side of these blocks have to face these the pressure pipes themselves. So this is called a high pressure input, but really it's to input things into the system, I found. Because I had an output block here. I had a high pressure output, and it wasn't doing anything. It was just sitting there. And these weren't even attached. And the reason is, I'll show you here, where's that output again? High pressure output. The reason was that there we go. And then I had it facing that way. You can see it wants to, when it connects, it wants to push the liquid that way. And how I had it configured was this, and it wasn't connecting, and I was I was sitting here saying, why is it not connecting? But output and input are into the system itself, the pressure pipe system itself. So I set the high pressure input next to my open block tank here filled with IC2 coolant, and each one of these now has 16,000 millibuckets basically. So we're getting really filled up here. I've got 16 buckets per, almost 16 buckets per block here. So anyway, the pressure pipe leads over here to my tank, and I've got a pressure intake to fill this tank. So this is the coolest thing that I think I've ever seen in Minecraft so far. I'm going to stand over here so we can see it happen. I'm going to flip this switch, and all of this liquid is going to immediately appear in the system down there. Look at that. It just disappears. It's amazing. It's instant, and it's high pressure. That's why, because it's pressurized. Pushes all that liquid through here. And there it is. And it's 63,747 micro buckets, or millibuckets, or however you want to say it, of coolant in this huge tank. And I put these indicators on here to let me know how filled it is, and it barely registers on this tank. So I think I can make this tank a little smaller, which is good. I did it 3x3 just because I didn't know how many of the coolant each of these blocks would hold. But it seems like it holds a lot, which is really good. So the only thing that I have discovered is on these open block tanks, it has to be right adjacent to the tank right adjacent to the input in order for it to grab every little bit out of the tank. So if I put that in there, boom, now it's grabbed it. So I think it's probably safe for me to just do that now. And then once this fills up, I just flip that switch and it'll push it over to this tank. Really, really cool. bdew has outdone himself with this mod, I think. It's pretty neat. So I'm going to be using these high pressure pipes for a lot of other things, I think, in the future, now that I see how cool they are. Just because to move liquids around, I always use these ender fluid conduits, and they do 800 micro buckets per tick. But this seems like it'll move a tremendous amount of liquid in the flick of a switch, rather than waiting for a tick. Amazing. So very cool. So recently I just moved all of my liquid over to the thing over there, the tank that I made over there, and I took a gander in here and noticed 68% of calcification. 68%, almost 69% now, calcification for this. This block is pretty much going to be done pretty soon. So in the on the wiki on the IC2 website, it says that if you break this block and then put it back in place, it'll fix itself. So let's see if that's true. Broken the block. Let's put it back in place. See what happens. 0. Awesome. So it's going to have to get back up to temperature before it starts making steam, but at least now it hasn't exploded. I don't know what percentage it will have to actually get to in order for it to start having problems. But at least at this point now, I know that it's not going to explode because we're at 0 again, which is awesome. So just figured I'd let you know that you can. That's a simple way of helping this block to continue to operate even after it starts getting calcified really bad. And one of the other things I started doing is I made myself a thermal centrifuge, and I had a ton of purified crushed uranium ore left over from all of my mine processing before, so I had it make as much as it could. And I've already collected some, and as you can see, I have a containment box in my inventory, and you can put these uranium, anything that's going to give off some kind of a nuclear signal, I guess, is the word you should use. You know, if it's going to poison you with radiation, that's what I'm looking for. Radiation, boy, am I brain dead today. So if it's going to give off radiation, then you want to put it in this containment box. The containment box will allow you to walk around with it without having your hazmat suit on. Now, I do have mine on just because I was down here around the area that this was being made. So I wanted to make sure that I was protected. But you can always put it in the containment box, and according to the wiki, it says that you can walk around without your hazmat suit on, and this will not hurt you as long as it's in the containment box. Now, I did go down and put a fuel rod in to my nuclear reactor just to see what would happen, and nothing happened. So I'm not sure if that means that because I've built the multi-block here, it's not going to work. I'm not sure. It might need coolant in here before it starts doing anything, but I did put a fuel rod and a heat dissipator in there and flicked the switch and did nothing at all. At least it didn't create any power at all. So I'm still not exactly sure how this thing works totally, but I will continue to research it, and we'll try some things and see. Maybe we can see me blow up myself. I don't know, but we'll see. Alright, be back soon.